Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. Today we're going to have another story about Jacob. You may remember that Jacob is a cunning, deceitful man. And now he's had to run away from home and from his brother. His brother has threatened to kill him because Jacob has cheated him. God blessed Jacob on his long journey and has promised to take care of him. We find Jacob now at the end of his journey. His uncle Laban lives close by. He arrives at a well just as some shepherds have come to water their sheep. Jacob asks them about his uncle. As it happens, Rachel, Laban's daughter, is just arriving at the well with her father's sheep. The shepherds tell Jacob who she is. Jacob weeps and introduces himself to her. At once she takes him home to meet her family, her parents and her older sister Leah. Jacob is happy to tell Laban that he is indeed Rebekah's son. Laban welcomes him to stay at his home. This Jacob does. After a month, Laban feels Jacob shouldn't be working for nothing. So he asks Jacob what he should pay him. Now Jacob has fallen in love with Rachel. He'd like to marry her. He agrees to work for 7 years if Laban will let him marry Rachel. Laban agrees. Jacob's happy because the years just fly past. He loves Rachel so much. The 7 years pass by, and true to his promise, Laban holds a wedding party. This goes on till late at night. But in the morning, when it is light, Jacob discovers that he has in fact married Leah instead. We can imagine his shock and anger. He goes to Laban with his bitter complaint. Laban tells him that's not the usual thing for the younger sister to marry before the older one. But not to worry. In another week, Jacob can marry Rachel as well. For another 7 years of unpaid work. We learn from the Bible that God blessed Leah with 4 sons very quickly. And this was because God knew that Jacob did not really love her. However, Rachel could not have children for many, many years, but she did have a loving husband. So we see from this story that Jacob had met his match. Laban was as cunning as he was. Laban was indeed a cheat and went on to show it many times over the years that Jacob worked for him. We may wonder why God let Jacob be cheated so many times. Hadn't he promised to care for him? Well, yes, he had. And this was one of the ways God showed his loving care for Jacob. The best way for Jacob to learn that cheating is very bad was for Jacob to be cheated himself, and that many times. God also wants us to learn to be good. The lessons can be painful sometimes, but God knows what's the very best for us. And what is that? Well, that we repent when we see how bad we can be and trust God to forgive us. Sometimes we see how unkind we are or deceitful. We might even see that we are cheats just like Jacob and Laban. Thank God then that Jesus died to wash us clean and to teach and help us to be good.
Be sure that your sin will find you out. Numbers 32 verse 23.
Once upon a time, it was many years ago, Jesus told a story of a man that you should know. He grew up on a farm and he had 100 sheep. The sheep would eat and eat and eat and eat. You're the sheep, Jesus said, far from home, all alone. I have come, God's own Son, to find you and to bring you back to Him. When the sun went down, He would lead them safely home. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, He'd count them on His own. Then one night He had a fright, He counted 99. 90, 90, 90, 99. You're the sheep, Jesus said, far from home, all alone. I have come, God's own Son, to find you and to bring you back to Him. Out He went to find where the missing sheep had strayed. Searching high and low, He was feeling quite dismayed. Then He thought He heard a noise, it sounded like a bleat. He found the silly, sad and sorry sheep.